Hey everybody, I'm Kate Conroy.
And I'm Vinny Civitello.
And this is Other People's Business, which is the podcast from the New Jersey Business and Industry Association, the largest statewide business association in the country. We release a new episode every other Wednesday, so be on the lookout for that. Shout out to New Jersey Manufacturers Insurance Group. They are the official sponsor of the show, and they do home, auto, and workers' comp.
Just a couple of housekeeping matters before we get started. This podcast is available anywhere you can get a podcast. That's iTunes, Google Play, Amazon's TuneIn. We even throw these things up on YouTube if you'd rather watch than listen. But no matter how you watch or listen, make sure to show the show some love. Give it that 5-star review on iTunes, like it on YouTube, comment on Facebook, whatever you got to do to let us know you're out there and you're having fun. With all that out of the way, our guest today, also from Wedgewood Pharmacy. We just had a couple episodes ago, Jacqueline Withers on, but today from Wedgewood Pharmacy, we have Randy Burrows. Say hi, let the audience hear your voice.
Good afternoon or morning.
Great to meet you.
It's afternoon when we're recording, so good afternoon.
It's like what they say with the drinks, like it's 5 o'clock anywhere or somewhere, like
somewhere. Absolutely.
It's good afternoon somewhere.
Exactly. Okay, so today's icebreaker is the same as it's been for, I think, since the pandemic started. I've just sort of settled into this question.
I finally made a complaint about it, and Kate got so mad at me.
I was like, stop it. Don't take this from me. I like it. All right, so what are you currently binging? And this can be, it can be books, movies, television, food. I can go first, Randy, if you want to go first.
I can go first because we just started binging The Blacklist on Netflix, and I gotta tell you, it is disturbing on many levels. But it's one of those things that you can't quit watching. And James Spader is phenomenal, and the writers are doing a great job. There's twists and turns, so it's very addicting. We didn't watch it the first time around. There's quite a few seasons, but it's that's what we're binge watching now, The Blacklist.
Yeah, it's got to be like 10 seasons in at this point. Is it still on?
And yeah, I'm just almost through season 1, and so we just get started. Yeah.
That is a really good season. Lots of twists and turns, if I remember correctly. Yeah. All right, good for you. I just finished Reservation Dogs on Hulu, which was fantastic. It's about like these 4 Native American kids growing up on a reservation in Oklahoma and doing everything they can to like get out. They look around their community and they're just like, man, there's nothing for us here. We want to get out of here. We're trying to like put some money together and get a car and like go to California because they think California is just going to solve all their problems. And it's such a great show because it really, I think it shows when you're in that the early teenage years of being a kid, and you just are unhappy and everything, and you just need to get out of where you're at, and it's just, I don't know, really great storytelling. Taika Waititi is one of the executive producers, and I think I could watch him read the phone book. I just love him. He's great.
I started watching that one. I finished the first season. I think they only have the one up.
Yep.
And I started texting Kate at one point because she mentioned that like they just picked California because they just think it would be better. Like, yeah, I think you're at like the last episode before they give any discernible reason whatsoever for why they even want to go to California. Because prior to that, it's just like, yeah, whatever. California sounds nice.
I know, right? It's too funny. Anyway, it's a great show.
They had me hooked on that one. I want to say it was like the first episode. They steal like a truck of like Cheetos or something, and they don't know how to, like, at the back of a truck, there's the ramp, like the metal ramp that, you pull in and out of the truck. They don't know how to put it back in. So it's just dragging behind them as they're like driving truck away. And they pass right by the cops. And the only reason they don't get caught is because like the cop is like messing around on his phone or something. He doesn't even look up to see this like train wreck of a theft going on.
Yeah, it's a great slice of life for a very small town Americana, I think.
Cool.
Anyway, Vin, what are you binging?
I've been doing that. Well, I just finished the Squid Game on Netflix.
Oh.
Yeah. It's interesting. It's sort of like Saw meets the Hunger Games.
I saw the Saturday Night Live skit on it. I didn't understand it. I've got to go watch the Squid Game. Absolutely. I didn't understand the parody. Yeah.
You know what's funny about that SNL thing? Kate, did you watch the SNL thing? So they gave like a straight up like episode for episode season recap in that like 3 or 4 minute skit. Like, and I thought that was funny because we reached this point where it's just assumed everyone not only watched the thing, but binged the thing and finished the thing. So of course it's like totally fine to just, spoil the entire season. Yeah, and like it's funny because here we are. This is a little like slice of life microcosm. There's 3 of us. 1 of us watched it, so.
Well, now I think I'm going to go watch the SNL sketch because that'll give me the recap that I need in order to participate in conversations like this without having to watch the horror show.
It's not horror, though. You should totally watch it because Kate doesn't do scary stuff. Yeah. I would not call Squid Games horror or scary. It's like completely voluntary.
Yeah, but you compared it to Saw, and I am not somebody who could watch Saw.
I say Saw because there are these like elaborate death traps that they set up, and but it's not in that horror gore kind of way. Like if somebody gets killed, 7 times out of 10 it's off screen, and sometimes there's like a deliberate reason for that, like some characters might come back later because they might not really have died, but like usually it's just that I don't think they want to do like the gratuitous gore and horror thing. Like it's not intended to be scary. Yeah. There is social commentary here, if you want to find it. It's one of those kinds of things. Yeah.
Got it.
So either of you watched 9 Perfect Strangers? Because that was another one that we just finished, and I'm not sure what genre that would be in. It wasn't horror. It was psychological thriller, like drama, but that was pretty good too. Yeah.
It was. The book was great. I read the book about 3 or 4 months ago, and so when I saw that Hulu was coming out with the movie, I was very excited. And there were some deviations, but for the most part, I thought it was really entertaining. Like I think I could watch the opening credits of that on a loop because they were just so psychedelic. Is the only word I can think of, which makes sense given the content.
All right, but speaking of squids and other adorable animals, tell us what you do for Wedgewood Pharmacy.
Sure. What would you like to know, or where would we start?
Let's start with what you do.
Well, I'm technically the Director of Business Development at Wedgewood Pharmacy, and I've been there 18 years. Wedgewood Pharmacy is the largest specialty compounding pharmacy in animal health in the United States. We service about 85% of veterinary hospitals in the United States on a monthly basis, hundreds of thousands of pet parents and customers. And we compound and we make specialty medications that are not available from an FDA manufacturer. So if you need something really specific for a small cat or a large dog, or it comes in a pill that your dog won't take or your cat won't take, we'll put it in a different formulation or route of administration or access. It makes it easier for the pet parent to treat their pets. A lot of drugs become unavailable from a commercial perspective, and we can continue to make them so that veterinarians can continue the appropriate therapy and treat their pets. We're a pretty important part of the animal health industry at this point, providing medications for just millions of pets. In 2020, 20.6 million households got a new pet during COVID. So veterinary medicine right now is just exploding. Of course, you can imagine that's brought along its own set of challenges, from staffing to hours to just getting the pets in and out the door and stuff like that. But it's many industries and businesses suffered a lot during COVID. Veterinary medicine had challenges, but they certainly didn't suffer from the demand perspective. Wedgewood's there to provide that medication for them. So I manage a lot of our corporate partners, our strategic partners, and I'm also involved in government affairs and public relations at both the state level and the federal level. So that's kind of a synopsis there.
Did you say 20 million households in the United States got a new pet during COVID? Was that the number, 20 million?
20.6 million households got a new pet, but as some analytics came out, about 24% of those were actually rehomed pets. So about 24%, but that's still 5 million. That's still removed from a household that could no longer keep them to another pet. So it wasn't a new pet in the veterinary market universe, but there's still that's 15 million households that they say actually got a new. There were shelters, no-kill shelters. The one on Long Island, which is called, I think, the North Shore Animal Shelter. It's pretty famous. Howard Stern's wife, Beth, is a big advocate for that. First time in history, they were empty. They didn't have a pet to adopt. So people were working from home. They had your children. They have time. So they all went out and got dogs and cats. and brought
It's
them
kind of
home.
funny when you think about the wide spectrum of experiences during COVID. Like I was thinking back to, kind of my life over the last year and a half, and one more responsibility on the top of the pile was just not something that
It
was
was not, it was
prime for
not.
me. Yeah, but I think back to like those early COVID times where I was watching all the videos of people like setting up those elaborate Rube Goldberg domino sets like down their stairs and around the corner, and just wishing I had that kind of free time. And it makes sense. Like I guess there were a lot of people out there who were, very isolated, a lot of free time. I guess the pet thing makes sense.
A number of our employees went out and got new puppies or adopted pets. We have one person that works for us, and they actually fly dogs up from North Carolina. She fosters them and then finds homes. There's not enough animals in the Northeast to adopt, so they're bringing them up from the Southeast. So
I imagine your company though is very specific. Like I would wonder what the average number of pets your employees have is. Like, like if you're in the animal, medicine field, I bet you really love animals, and like your average employee probably has like 4 cats.
I don't know, but you know what that number is, but we have a lot of pets, and all of our materials, if you go to our public-facing website, there's all pictures of our employees and their pets. In fact, we just did a new photo shoot just recently where everybody brings it, and it takes like 3 or 4 days, and they bring we have a professional photographer do it both for the horses and dogs and cats, and they do some wonderful photography. But on our website, those are all, and all of our marketing materials, everything that we send out, those are actual Wedgewood Pharmacy employees with their pets, and there are a lot. You are correct. But I think
you should make a calendar, and not one of those 12-month calendars. I'm talking about the daily calendar where you rip off a page, and every single page is one of your employees and their pets, or just the pets. That would have a lot broader appeal.
Yeah, Kristen Cole, who works in California for us, lives in Santa Monica. I think she's got about 8 or 9 cats. She's a real cat person and a certified feline behaviorist. So she works with other people on their cat behavior problems all the time. Does webinars and seminars for veterinary practices on cat behavior. Yeah, so they have a lot, multiple dogs.
That's incredible.
Yeah. Hey, weren't you up to like 16 at some point?
I knew that you were going to go there. At one point I had 8, but 4 were inside, and I had a big house, and 4 were outside. And then things changed and life moved on, and now I've got 2, and that's plenty.
Well, I will say for some of our state and federal legislatures that have visited our facility in Wedgewood, they all knew Wedgewood because they all have pets. And one Congressman Lobiondo, before he retired, came, and he was picking up medication for his dog the same day he came and visited and toured our facility. So it's pretty interesting business, that's for sure.
That's fantastic. Wow. I'm still boggled over how many people got pets. I'm still thinking about that 20 million. That's just, it's blowing my mind. But my gosh. Okay, so I remember correctly from Jackie's episode, you have a huge number of employees who have been with you for a really long time, right?
We have. The company was started by George and Lucy Malmberg in 1981, and the 3rd employee that they hired, her name is Norma Miller. She is still with the company in a supervisory role. She was pregnant when she was hired, and her daughter now is one of our supervisors in the lab. So we have multiple employees that are approaching 20 years or over. I've been there 18 years myself. I think Jacqueline's been there just a little bit less than I have. But the company's really grown. When I joined them in 2003, I was employee number 30.
Wow.
And now we have in one location, 6,000 square feet in Sewell, New Jersey. It was a small little strip mall, and now we've grown from that humble beginnings to 4 locations nationwide, 750 employees. So I was number 30. Marcy Bliss was the 4th employee. She is now our CEO. She joined us as our marketing manager, another hire that was pregnant at the time. Lucy Malmberg met her as Lucy Malmberg was a board member of the Red Cross in Wilmington, Delaware, when Libby Dole was the CEO. Marcy was a marketing person, and she met Marcy and fell in love with her and hired her. Marcy said, "Who's going to hire me when I'm 8 months pregnant?" So she hired Marcy. They had, I think Marcy's number was 11. She was the 11th all-time employee, and she has stayed with the company and been a huge part of our growth, and is now the CEO of
That's fantastic.
750 employees, and we're in Scottsdale, Arizona, Denver, Colorado, and San Jose, California right now. Well, our main facility is Swedesboro, New Jersey, and Gloucester County. We employ about, I guess there are almost 400 employees in South Jersey at this point in time. The majority of our workforce is in South Jersey. So.
Fantastic. And what would you say is your favorite part of the job? Because you have like a whole umbrella full of stuff that you do. What is your favorite thing to do all day?
Well, all day.
In a day.
Well, I came from a sales role, and I just love our customers. For many years before I was in management or in this type of position, I was at a veterinary clinic, or when I was in the equine business, I was at a racetrack or a horse farm or a horse show. And they're just such a wonderful, wonderful community, the veterinary community. They're just wonderful people. Most of them went into veterinary medicine because they loved animals, not because they want to be in business. And, things have changed a lot. I've been in the animal health industry for over 30 years. And, now there are a lot of changes taking place. Veterinarians really have to keep up with the changes, the home delivery model. Everybody wants everything at home now. They don't want to go see their veterinarian. And so
especially now, I would imagine,
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And millennials are the largest group of pet owners, and they spend more money on their pets than anybody else. So, it's a whole different group that they're marketing to now, or treating or servicing, than they were even 15 years ago. So veterinary, but my favorite part is still working with the vets, going to the meetings, interacting with the veterinarians, and going out and being where the animals are. So I don't get to do that very often, but that's still my favorite parts.
I was going to say the money spending thing is probably like Instagram and everything. The big mantra I hear from my entire generation is I work so that my pet can have a better life and everything. And as soon as you see like Kate on Instagram with like some new awesome thing for her pet, you're like, all right, well now my pet is like miserable because he doesn't have, like that awesome thing.
Yeah, I did just buy the automatic feeder, so that I put in 2 weeks worth of food in the reservoir, and every morning at 6 o'clock they get their kibble kind of pushed out. It's a game changer. I'm just gonna say.
That's pretty cool. That's like one of those things. You remember in the movies, like I mentioned the Rube Goldberg machine before, like Pee Wee Herman and like Doc Brown would have those things that like would feed the cat and feed the dog, and it would be like 14 different steps. I'm sure yours is just push a button and it does it, but yeah.
Yes, but I always think of Doc Brown and Einstein. That was his dog, right? Or Copernicus?
That was the dog. Copernicus was the one in the 50s, and Einstein was the one in the 80s. So well done. I would not have expected you to pull that out.
I can't remember it either. But yeah, every single time it goes off, I think of Doc Brown, and I think of that contraption that he built. So I know that in people medicine, telehealth has become a pretty big deal during COVID. Has that impacted your industry as well, or no?
Well, it's starting to, and there are a number of companies that have raised millions and millions of dollars that have brick and mortar locations, but they also want to offer 24/7 telemedicine, providing services 24/7 to their clients. It gets a little sticky when we talk about crossing state lines, and whether you actually have to have a relationship or actually physically see the patient before you write a prescription. And then it gets even more complicated than that. You don't want somebody in Arkansas looking at your cat in Florida and writing a prescription when he's not licensed in the state of Florida. But these other groups, there's one on Long Island, there's one in Manhattan that come to mind right off the top of my head, where they've raised millions of dollars to expand. And so they're providing those services to their customers. And it's really a kind of a triage. You can call them up or contact them with video. And if your pet really is sick and needs to go to the clinic, they'll say you need to take them to the clinic right now. A lot of times it's a derm problem or some minor problem, and they can resolve it right on the telemedicine. So some veterinarians are against it because they think that's going to stop them from bringing the pets in. But I think as a whole, telemedicine is here to stay. It's been very, very productive on a number of different levels in human medicine. The company Teladocs, the largest in the world. I know Virtua Healthcare in Central New Jersey, they've really, really embraced it. And I think in some way, shape, or form, it's going to be here for veterinary medicine in the next 5 years. We'll see a whole different view of that.
That makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. And then did you say in one of our previous conversations that you're able to talk to your clients and sort of counsel them in a way that hadn't been before COVID?
Well, we've always had pharmacists on the phone because they have to review every script to make sure that it's correct. Even some doctors will write a script. You know, we have to take things. It's just like human medicine. We have to know the species, the age, the weight to make sure that the dosage is correct. So we've always had a number of pharmacists that are on the phone. But we also do patient counseling. So, you know, pet owners can call in and speak with a pharmacist anytime they need to talk about the medication for their pets, their side effects. And we offer that 24/7. It's not actually telemedicine, but you can call at 3 a.m. And it'll route to somebody with a cell phone who will wake up in bed and answer your questions about your pet's medication.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's like better customer service than most doctors' offices. That's incredible.
Well,
Right?
You go down that road.
You're right. Sorry.
Yeah, trying to get a doctor's appointment. I think the average time in the United States now for a person to get an appointment with their doctor is 21 days. So, you know, that's
Right.
you can get your cat in to see the vet much quicker than that. You know, so in a lot of ways, veterinary medicine's ahead of the curve.
Definitely. Wow. Okay. So on that note, I think we're going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, we're going to play a game.
Okay.
And we're back, and it is now time to play Awful or Awesome, which today is brought to you by One Team Financial. I'm going to name 3 things, and we all have to quickly decide if they're awful or awesome, and be prepared to defend our answers. Ready?
Ready.
First up, roundabouts and jug handles. And I should say, I am not originally from New Jersey, and I know that Randy is not originally from New Jersey, and so there was a certain amount of culture shock that was part of my life when I first discovered roundabouts and jug handles. So I'm going to go ahead and say awful. Sorry, no tea, no shade to my fellow New Jerseyans. I love you. I hate your roadways. Just going to say awful.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with awesome. I don't know. I guess it's all I know. You know, I guess I'm not originally from New Jersey, but I've never driven. Like, I got my driver's license, you know, at the point where I lived in New Jersey, you know, just about all my life. I remember every time I've gone driving in Philadelphia and the GPS tells me to take like a left and I do it. And then 20 feet later, it's like, take another left. And I'm like, wait, that's 4 lanes away. Are you trying to kill me? Like, how am I supposed to get across 4 lanes in 20 feet? That's why we have jug handles in New Jersey, so that you can safely make those kinds of like 4-lane crossings from the farthest lane to the right, you know?
You're not taking into account that she can recalculate. If you can't get across 4 lanes safely, she'll just recalculate.
That's absolutely what happened, because there was no way I was going to get across 4 lanes.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
it sounds like a personal problem.
I gotta give this some thought, and I have to kind of split my answer, because roundabouts I've come to get along with, and it's amazing because they were taking them out and now they're putting them back in.
Yeah.
You know, in different parts of the state, and but jug handles are awful. They're just the worst. It's the absolute worst. When I first came to New Jersey, I was in North Jersey up on Route 17, and I would try to be going someplace, and I would drive by and go like this. You know, and I'd have to go half a mile. It just seemed insane, and the way we had to do that in the stoplight. So roundabouts, okay, maybe not awesome, but jug handles awful.
I'll take it.
I can only imagine that the reason they took them out and took them back in is because in New Jersey we have this thing that we love to complain, and so we probably complained enough until they were like, "Fine, you want to cut across 4 lanes? Go ahead." And then we were like, "Well, wait a minute, though. It probably was better the other way."
Yeah.
You know.
I don't know about that. Okay, next up, gender reveal parties. And this is on here because Vinny and I were talking recently about one of the California wildfires and realized that one of those fires was started by a gender reveal party. And then we were like, was the baby born? What, like, is the fire still going to be going when this kid is in college? Like, it just seemed like the gender reveal parties, I think, in theory are awesome, but in practice, they're just getting so big and overblown, they've become awful because they're just creating these natural disasters now.
I don't know if they happen anymore. Maybe
Really?
because of COVID, but That one started, I think that wildfire started just before COVID or maybe in the early COVID. So that coupled with the pandemic, like I can't imagine anybody still doing it, but I don't know.
Fingers crossed.
Obviously they're awful. I think even the person who invented them was like, seriously, I regret this. Please leave me alone. The person who invented Skynet.
I've never actually attended one, so I hate to be ambivalent again, but most of the young couples that we know are having kids are either just letting us know ahead of time or they're waiting till the baby's born. And
yeah.
So nobody that we know, because I personally haven't been involved in anybody that's thrown a big to-who, but that thing in California where they started the fire, I think they were doing it outside because it was COVID and they had fireworks. I think that's what started the fire. And, in a place that hasn't had rain for 200 days, that was a real good idea.
No, that was dumb. That was dumb.
That's not right.
Yeah.
I did see a really good one online, and I think it might have even been from New Jersey, but I'm sorry if I'm wrong on that. The couple were big professional wrestling fans. So their friends made a ring, and they had two people fighting each other, one in pink and one in blue, and whoever won, that was going to be like what the baby was. And they did such a good job with the theatricality of it, because like every time you would think one of them was going to win, they'd like kick out, and you'd be like, oh, and I don't even know these people, and I want to know what their baby is going to be. And then finally, like, somebody just slips a chair in, and like, the boy just like smacks the girl one across the face with it while the rest's not looking. And I'm like, ah! That's a good idea. Half of California didn't need to burn down for that. We do everything better in Jersey.
I don't know about that. I'd like to redirect us to roundabouts and jug handles, but
like I said, you don't have to turn left across 4 lanes. We did it better. That's why they brought them back.
Okay, so I have never attended a gender reveal party either, and I don't know that I ever need to, because
I think that's because we just have good friends. We didn't have anybody who thought to do this.
I love it. Oh my God. Okay, so the last one is SkyMall. Do you remember what SkyMall is? Does everybody know? Vinny, you're shaking your head. Randy, you know what SkyMall is. Tell Vinny what SkyMall is.
SkyMall was a magazine in Continental Airlines, and maybe, I guess, other airlines maybe too, where it had just all kinds of things that you could buy. And when you got really bored on your flight, you'd probably look at it 2 or 3 times and look at every page: household, clothes, gadgets, luggage. It had just an array of stuff, and you could buy it right online. I mean, you could buy it right, you could order it right there.
Yep. So not just stuff that you would need on the plane.
No. All kinds of electronic gadgets and spy equipment and clothes and exercise and stuff. But a lot of it was travel related though. Exercise equipment you could take and exercise in your hotel room and things like that. But it had some really cool stuff. Yeah.
It was the first thing that I looked at after I sat down. I would grab it from the seat pocket in front of me, and I would immediately start flipping through it, and it was just. It was so fun. I can't believe that one day I was flipping through it and they had an Oriental rug, and I was like, what person is going to purchase an Oriental rug sight unseen from this airplane magazine? But they did. It was just fascinating. It was.
You had 2 pages of Harry Potter memorabilia. You could buy wands. You could buy the necklace that the elves wore. That was.
And this is like relatively recent then, not even.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
Within the last 5 or 10 years, at least. I don't know when they stopped doing it, but they stopped.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm full on awesome on SkyMall.
Yeah, awesome SkyMall. Yeah. Great.
I don't know what to tell you. I either never saw one or I was never on a flight with one. I don't do a lot of flying, so plus I'm that guy that my entire carry-on bag is like 10 devices that I'll probably never even get around to using on the flight, but just in case, it's like my 3DS, my Vita, my tablet, my Kindle, it's all there,
How have you been to Disney World for every family vacation, but you've not been flying enough? I don't fly.
No, you know what it is? My dad was a train dispatcher, a train master for Amtrak, and so we rode the trains for free. So they always thought that would be a good idea to ride the train from Jersey to Florida. Actually, I think it was like Jersey to Florida, and then there were other times when we wanted to take the car. So you would drive to Virginia, put the car on the train, and then go from Virginia to Florida.
Wait.
Yeah.
I have 2 follow-up questions. First of all, did you get the sleeper cars when you would That's amazing. I've always wanted to do that. Second, you can put your car on the train?
Yeah, it's not a fantastic idea, but like,
it was like 20 hours though. Once you put your car in the train, it's still like 20 hours to get to Florida. Yeah, so
it's awful because first of all, like I would never do that. Like I was young, I would never put my car on a train because the train like moves, and there were times where big scratches would happen, and I guess they say they'll reimburse you for it. I don't remember, but I would not think of it was a good idea.
And then
Plus,
it didn't go all the way south. It went to like middle of Florida, so if you got off, you still had to drive someplace once you got there.
Plus, imagine like when you're on the plane and you have to wait for everybody to get off. It's kind of like that. You have to wait for everybody to get off the train, and then you have to wait for every car to get off the train. And that's just awful.
You're blowing my mind. I need to think about this. This is just...
Just rent a car when you get there. That's Vinny's advice of the day.
I can't believe that it's an option though. I need
I don't know if they still do it. I imagine they do. Like you have people that really love those cars, and they can't be without it.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible.
All right, well, that's the game, which is brought to us by One Team Financial. Randy, earlier in the show, you were talking about how you guys have amazing retention at Wedgewood Pharmacy. What's your secret?
Well, I think it's just because the culture that's been created there over the years. George and Lucy Moenberg. Lucy actually came. She was a upper level executive at DuPont that left her job at DuPont to come, and she'd been there for a number of years. George they were both pharmacists. They went to the University of Sciences in Philadelphia. They both graduated. That's the oldest pharmacy school in the United States. And they just developed a culture that was very family oriented, but Lucy brought a very sophisticated business acumen to putting it together. So I think when you combine those two things, it's just been a wonderful environment. It's a wonderful company to work for. The benefits are just exemplary. We've always got open positions, and now that the company's grown to the size that it has, there's a great career path. We have people that have started in, washing beakers, and then they've moved up to become pharmacy techs. We've actually had pharmacy techs come and work a number of years and then leave and go and become pharmacists. Go back to pharmacist school. When they graduated, come back and get a job as a pharmacist at Wedgewood Pharmacy. We've got inside salespeople that have graduated and gone on to outside sales positions or gone into marketing. So, it's a place where you can start and actually grow and have a career. The benefits package, like I said, is wonderful. We participate with Gloucester County Community College program down there. We're the largest participant in all of Gloucester County. We send more employees' children to school and help with the tuition assistance program than any other business there. And we always have open positions. We are always hiring across the board, from entry level up to pharmacists, up to quality control people. So with a company that's grown, and we continue to grow. We just got bought our second round of private equity funding or private equity acquisition in April 1st. So the company, we're still in an extremely growth mode, where the company's going to continue to grow the next 3 to 5 years. It's going to be very, very exciting at Wedgewood Pharmacy to see where we go from here. So
that's amazing. If somebody wants to get a hold of you, how can they do it?
Get a hold of me personally or Wedgewood Pharmacy?
Either way, let's do both. Let's do how can they get a hold of you, and how can they score one of these awesome job applications for Wedgewood Pharmacy?
If somebody wants to get a hold of me, it's very easy. My cell phone is 609-439-7682. That's 609-439-7682. They're interested in a job, or the company, or just want an overview. My email at Wedgewood Pharmacy is rburrows, that's RBURROWS, at wedgewoodpharmacy.com. All the jobs are posted on our public-facing website, and there's a process you go through. But if anybody is interested in a job, they can certainly go online, see what's available. And if they want to call me to ask me about the company, the opportunity, or anything like that, feel free to contact me. Be more than happy to speak with them.
Very cool.
Fantastic. I think that is our show. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, well, this has been a lot of fun. Thank you very much for inviting me. Really appreciate it.
It was our pleasure. Thank you to our listeners, especially the subscribers. We really appreciate the support. Thank you to New Jersey Manufacturers Insurance Group, the official sponsor of the show. They do home, auto, and workers' comp, so check them out if you have a need for updated coverage. And finally, thanks to Randy Burrows from Wedgewood Pharmacy for joining us today.